Here is a video of my 1979 Radio Shack Tandy Computerized football game in action. The slide switch controls both the power and difficulty level. The ST button shows down, field position, and yards to go, while the SC button shows home and visitor score and time remaining in the quarter. Arrow buttons control your running back during play. The K button is for kick or run on fourth down. Pressing the SC button also readies both teams for the next play. I used the following setup to film the close-up shots. The plastic bin was used as ballast to prevent the selfie stick from falling over. You can see my selfie stick remote to the right of the electronic game. In 1979, Radio Shack released the Tandy Computerized football electronic game, catalog number 60-2144A. The advertising boasted 4 quarters of action for 1 or 2, college and pro levels, LED players, and scoring display. This electronic game originally retailed for $24.95. An odd thing is that I've only found the Tandy Computerized football electronic game to be advertised in the 1979 Radio Shack pre-Christmas flyer and not the main catalog for that year. This makes me think that this electronic game may be rare. A small advertisement for this electronic game can be found in the lower left-hand corner on the back of the 1979 Radio Shack pre-Christmas flyer. It is on display with 3 other sports game variants. Testing. I already knew there was a problem with this electronic game when I found parts taped to the battery cover by the previous owner. It looks to be metal parts from the momentary switches on the front of the case. Upon removing the battery cover and inserting a fresh 9-volt battery, then moving the slide switch to the professional position, the following issues became apparent. The slide switch was loose and did not always make good electrical contact. Sometimes this electronic game would reset itself during gameplay. The down and forward arrows did not work at all during gameplay, most likely due to the loose parts taped to the battery cover. Repair. Some disassembly is required in order to repair the Tandy Computerized football electronic game. First, the battery cover must be removed by sliding it down. This will expose the battery compartment. The battery must then be removed. 2 screws must be removed. This will allow the case of this electronic game to be separated. The piezoelectric speaker must be desoldered from the main printed circuit board in order to allow the back cover to be completely separated. A single screw must be removed in order to free the main printed circuit board. The main printed circuit board is connected to the switch printed circuit board by a wire harness. The main printed circuit board must be lifted back in order to expose the 5 screws to hold the switch printed circuit board to the inside of the front case. I already removed 4 screws when this picture was taken. Here is a picture of the electronics completely separated from the case. These flexible metal pieces provide the spring and electrical contact in the momentary switches on the front of the Tandy Computerized football electronic game. The flexible metal pieces were secured in place over the switch contacts pictured here with a clear plastic adhesive tape. Upon inspection of the main printed circuit board, I discovered a break in the printed circuit board trace and repaired it with a small jumper. It is also a good idea to replace electrolytic capacitors when you have an electronic game apart. After 46 years, electrolytic capacitors lose their capacity as their electrolyte dries up. It is important to replace electrolytic capacitors with the same capacity and same or higher working voltage. It is also important to observe their polarity when installing. Here is a picture of the replacement capacitors soldered in place. One of the flexible metal pieces used for the momentary switches had a crack in it and was not salvageable. I had to borrow one from an old Atari 2600 joystick. After the switch contacts were cleaned, the flexible metal pieces were secured in place using clear packing tape. It took some time to get the flexible metal pieces properly oriented over the switch contacts. I cut individual small pieces of clear packing tape and positioned the flexible metal pieces one at a time. Here is the final product. I discovered another electrolytic capacitor that warranted replacement. As mentioned, the slide switch had some play in it, which sometimes caused the game to reset itself during play. It had to be desoldered from the main printed circuit board in order to be serviced. 6 tabs must be bent back in order to gain access to the innards of the slide switch. I used 800 grit sandpaper to clean up the contacts on the base. In addition, I lightly sanded the slide contacts and switch compression springs as well. I used needle nose pliers to slightly extend the length of the switch compression springs so that the base and slide contacts make better contact. Time to reassemble the slide switch. The switch compression springs were installed, then the slide contacts. The 6 tabs were then bent back into position, holding the base of the switch to the metal top. The slide switch was then resoldered to the main printed circuit board. Time to perform a final test of this game's electronics prior to reassembly. I made sure the slide switch, momentary switches, and gameplay were working correctly. Reassembly. Time for reassembly. 5 screws hold the switch printed circuit board to the inside of the front case. The main printed circuit board is then fastened to the front case with a single screw. Then the 9-volt battery clip wiring is properly routed to the battery compartment. The piezoelectric speaker was then resoldered to the main printed circuit board. The front and back of this electronic game's case are ready to be mated together. 2 screws hold the Tandy Computerized football game together. Time to install the 9-volt battery and battery cover. I used Windex to clean the case of the Tandy Computerized football game. Then Armor All to bring back the luster of the plastic case. My Tandy Computerized football game was ready for action. Conclusion. Thank you for watching this how-to repair video on repairing the 1979 Radio Shack Tandy Computerized football game. This was a fun little electronic game to both work on and play. Please like this post and subscribe to Rust Belt Vintage Toy Repair so that you're alerted to my future posts. Thank you.